and I thought out loud for it. But anyway, y'all see what the title is real quick. Why do black men run to every race but ours? But we black women are loyal and hold black men down, essentially. Now, I didn't make this up. I did copy and paste another website's image. So that thumbnail there actually came from a nice website, and when I find it again, I got to acknowledge whose website I basically took that image off on Google, and I did add. The only difference there is in the middle you see a black girl. It's black and white. It's in a grayscale image, but that's my niece. That's one of my nieces. That's my niece, and her name is Letitia, right? And she's the one that posted the question. All right, that's my niece Letitia, and she's my niece, not DNA, but through growing up and her having a family with one of my nephews, which is DNA. So when I say that's my niece, that means that's what I think about her, or how much I think about her, even after her and my nephew are not together anymore. But she posed the question, and she says, it's a legitimate question. It's how is that, right? But I need to take the link. I need to grab the link because I don't think she's on my channel. So what I'll do is, let me do this, and I'm gonna be right with y'all. But how are you guys Memorial Day weekend? And with that, I'll shut up and actually play something so you guys can stay busy and you don't have to keep hearing my mouth, and we can get right into it. This gentleman right here, I'll start with Jamal Woodward. Jamal Woodward is the black guy that played Biggie Small in the remake of the Biggie, or the make of the Biggie Small movie with Puffy and all of them, yeah. And this guy, Jamal Woodward, he plays as them. But he's going to talk about dating other races. Let's take a listen to it.
Don't get mad at me for dating outside my race. But I was dating outside of my race because they was doing things better.
Define better. Define better.
Well, not better, because I know where she getting ready to go. Not better.
I know. You said they were doing things better. I wanted to know what better meant.
Not better. I'm going to change that.
I'm trying to save you for the people,
That's
for the
what
culture.
I'm saying. Not better. For the culture.
There we go.
Right. Not better. I was dating Puerto Rican. I was dating Dominican. I was dating African. I was dating all type of other really size American black. Right? They were doing way more of what we expect we want our woman to do more than our American. Our American got real comfortable with...
Give me some examples.
Oh, man. I mean, their mannerisms are different. Like even my Indian one was from Syria, one of them countries over there, right? I didn't have to really say much to do and be treated like a king. You see what I'm saying? A lot of times with our own American black, they expect so much of us and what we're supposed to do. Like things like if we go out and eat and we just have a nice dinner, we can go anywhere and eat and get a nice dinner. It had to be Rue Chris, or it had to be this, that, or it had to be this, that. Then I get somebody that's just as fine, a Cuban or a Colombian. They don't care about nothing. They care about you and your household, even though they still care about the money, but it's not about the money. You understand what I'm trying to say? It's a difference. Not better. But sometimes we get tired of hearing, Birkin bags, sushi.
Do you think that's fair? Because I feel like there's a certain type of woman that does demand that. And to me, I think it depends on the bait you're using and where you're looking. If you're gonna go get a model from Instagram that got the BBL, the snatched in stomach, and has all the things that check off money hungry and surface, you're gonna get that. If you're gonna meet a girl and through different ways and ask different questions, you're gonna find that out a lot earlier on, that what's important to her.
I'm not doubting that, but I'm just talking about even if you look on just a regular dating app and just look at what a woman may state that she requires. I'm saying these things because it feels as if social media, again, is the barometer, okay? And it's the comparison. And when you're comparing yourself to all these other women, and of course, even with the BBLs, because I'm like, that's fine. But I mean,
What's BBL? I'm sorry.
Brazilian butt lift.
Oh, okay.
And there's no
Right.
shade to women that have
No.
them. I'm just
I was
saying.
wondering, I was waiting for it too. I'm like, excuse me?
And there's
Right.
no shade to everyone that has them. I'm just saying, if you're going by just surface things and that's who you're going afterwards, then guess what? She gonna run them pockets.
No, and I'm not, and I want to get your thoughts, Doc, and as well, Amy, as a woman dating or even considering, I think that a lot of times, you know, we do value women, but when you talk about black relationships, I think we all come with some baggage, all right? Now, some of us have some baggage that's not gonna fit in the overhead compartment, and some of us have some baggage that you're gonna have to pay a whole lot more for to get on this flight, right? But the reality of it is that's just who we are, and I'm talking about historic. Like, if you're talking about being enslaved, where we were and how we engage each other, there's a lot of elements there. But it can be a little difficult because women have expectations in 2021 that they're watching, and they're very material expectations. I agree with you, Claudia, but I'm simply saying that
not all of them are material.
and I'm not trying to generalize.
It's just
women.
most of the time it's pointing to American women are more material.
And it's America as a society.
Not better.
Let's bring
Not
spirit.
better.
Let's bring
I
spirit
heard you,
into this.
and I gave you the space to even edit the better part, right? So, and I'm with you on that. But let's say this because you guys both tie in two really important pieces, right? You talk about women who are not African American women, and you talk about the experience and what is the influence here. You mentioned social media, but what you're really missing here is the piece that you talk about, the enslavement part, the culture and the trauma that African American men and women and children have faced in this country is like unlike any other group. And so when we talk about trauma, what we know is that Black people have a lot of unprocessed trauma. We have a lot of hurt. We have a lot of harm, not just back then, but right now on the daily, right? And so one of the things that we talk about as professionals within my profession is we talk about how trauma impacts people. And so we love to say, Resma Menakem, one of my favorite colleagues, he says that trauma decontextualized within a person looks like personality. And that trauma decontextualized within a family looks like family traits. And that trauma decontextualized within a people looks like culture, right? And so when you talk about how African American women present and what they need as it relates to security and finances and the finer things in life, and to look a certain way and to want a certain thing from their man and to have certain expectations, it's because of the trauma that we are still trying to survive. And when we talk about feeling beautiful and the BBLs and the Birkin bags and the wanting the nice things and wanting their men to come with a certain level of care and a certain level of treatment and expectation, we are trying to connect. We are trying to heal with you. We are trying to build with you. But there's so much hurt and trauma that we all have that we don't talk about, that we don't even understand within ourselves, so that we can't find who we're compatible with. Because who we're compatible with is traumatized versions of ourselves.
Spirit, do you think that women and men, women that seek the materialistic things, items, the tangible things, and men that just seek the women for the aesthetics, do you think those are people that kind of just gave up on love and they're just like going for, all right, well, at least I can see this, I can grab onto this?
No, I think it's science. If you really want to know, we are part of the animal kingdom like anything else. And so what the male species chooses is the thing that's biologically beautiful, because what it suggests from a DNA perspective is you're likely to bear my offspring and they will do well. It's survival of the fittest. And what the female species chooses is the male offspring that can provide the most security, because you're going to be able to protect me and our offspring and raise us, and we will do well.
So we're not gold diggers, it's just science.
It's literally biology. It is literally biology.
We have our own different...
Listen, when you see the brothers out there with the rims and the flash and the money and the gold, they're no different than the male peacock that's showing his whole big pretty feathers. Look at me, look at me. And when you see the women that go, show me what you got, show me what you're working with, it's no different than the frog that ribbits the loudest, or the bird that chirps the loudest.
So what do you call a man that's just been providing that doesn't ask for nothing? What do you call the guys like me who we don't ask for anything?
Oh, but you do.
How?
You may not ask it with your words, but your expectation is there. So when you say, I need that woman that loves me, I need that woman that has my back, so I don't have to say, hey, is that bacon and eggs there? Hey,
Okay,
are those clothes in the drawer?
Not cash-wise. Okay.
So when we talk about
Morning, everybody. It's DJ Envy, Charlemagne the.
Okay, because Jason Lee just looked into her eye.
Okay. I'm just going to jump in for a second, and then I'll back off and shut up because who am I, right? But I do want to send a shout out to Marcus Banks. What's good, Marcus? Yeah, Marcus, you the Memorial Day. It was something, you know. I had some things I had to do, and really it revolved around some studying or something I'm trying to learn. And it was cool. I hope you enjoyed yours. Enjoy yours. You hear me? I hope you enjoyed yours. But I hope you enjoyed yours and as such, right? The question here was posed by my niece. My niece is Letitia. She's the gray color or the black and white image on the thumbnail right there. And basically, she posed the question, why do black men run to every race but ours, but we, black women, are loyal and hold the black man down? And when she asked that, some people were making comments, and initially I was like reading it or whatever, because she's much younger than me, and she's a generation under me, right? And I'm like, okay, that's cool. And I seen some of the responses, but then some of the other people weighed in, and I hit her in the comment, and I said, hey, do you really want me to answer that? Not that she really wanted me to answer it. It was my way of saying, hey, I would like to answer that, you know. But a lot of times, family or not, you don't want to get in young people's business or conversation because it's just not, the optics ain't right. It just seemed a little strange. But, you know, the old man always got something to say. I'm an OG, I'm an old man, I'm an old whatever. I'm big uncle, I'm dad, whatever. But here's the deal though, right? I said I would say something, but I just didn't want to say my opinion. I just didn't want to sound like my typical subjective, I know what I'm talking about, I've been living longer than you and all of this, and say, here go the primary reason. Because that's what a lot of people, when they pop off about shit, they try to make it seem like the shit they saying is the shit. No, it's your opinion. It's your shit, because one of the things that most human beings anyway, the thing that they can't help, they cannot resist from speaking subjectively. They cannot help from speaking in their limited space of exposure. It's difficult. It's like something you have to learn. I guess others learn it quicker than others, and other people don't even care to learn it, which is fine. But what I try to do sometimes, I try to make a concerted effort to not mold my opinion around like this is it. I'm telling you this what it is, man. Nah, that's what it is to me, right? But I want to hear what it is from other people. So at times what I'll do is I'll play video clips, or I'll play some other media, or show other people's opinions, or ask people in the chat for what they think, okay? And the reason why is because I can only go by my limited exposure and experience in dating other races. And I can only go by the way that I see it, and why, what was the good, the bad, and ugly, and what drove me to that, or why did I find it appealing, or whatever like that. But like I said, the brother we was just listening to, and the very elegant, I was impressed with the sister, her response towards the end. That was the brother that played as Jamal Woodward. He played as Biggie Small, and he talks about dating other races. Initially, he starts off by saying, I did it because they do things better than black women, but then he backed up off of that real quick. Listen to that real quick again. Here we go.
Don't get mad at me for dating outside my race, but I was dating outside of my race because they was doing things better than my race. I'm gonna keep it 100.
So he said it, you heard him. He said I was dating outside of my race because they was doing things better than in my race. And they jumped right on his ass, but he backed up off of that.
better.
My
Define
Spanish,
better.
well, not better, because I know where she getting ready to go. Not better.
I know you
But
said they were
not-
doing things
not
better. I wanted to know what better meant.
Not better. I'm gonna change that.
I'm trying to save you for the
I know you
people,
is.
for
That's
the
what I'm gonna
culture.
say. Not better for the culture.
There we go.
Right, not better. I was dating Puerto Rican, I was dating Dominican, I was dating African, I was dating all type of other really size American black, right? They were doing way more of what we expect we want our woman to do more than our American. Our American got real comfortable
Give
with—
me some examples.
Oh man, I mean, their mannerisms are different. Like even my Indian one was from
He don't even know where she was from because it really don't matter. But here we go.
one of them countries over there, right?
Look at that. One of those countries. That's how much he cared about that experience.
I didn't have to really say much to do and be treated like a king. You see what I'm saying? A lot of times with our own American black, they expect so much of us and what we're supposed to do. Like things like if we go out and eat and we just have a nice dinner, we can go anywhere and eat and get a nice dinner. It had to be Rue Chris, or it had to be this, that, or it had to be this, that. Then I get somebody that's just as fine, a Cuban or a Colombian. They don't care about nothing. They care about you and your household, even though they still care about the money, but it's not about the money. You understand what I'm trying to say? It's a difference. Not better, but sometimes we get tired of hearing, Birkin bags, sushi.
Do you think that's fair? Because I feel like there's a certain type of woman
Right.
that does demand that. And to
Right.
me, I think it depends on the bait you're using and where you're looking. If you're gonna go get a model from Instagram that got the BBL, the snatched in stomach, and has all the things that check off money hungry and surface, you're gonna get that. If you're gonna meet a girl and through different ways and ask different questions, you're gonna find that out a lot earlier on, that what's important to her.
I'm not doubting that, but I'm
Okay, so she makes a good point. She really does. I also see that Marcus Banks and Raymond Driggers, and is it anybody else? Y'all having a good conversation about it. Respectful. Yes. Having a good conversation about it. Here's the thing with me. I've dated outside of my race. Okay, I've dated outside of my race. I've dated, and here I will say this to acknowledge this. When I've dated outside of my race, I dated exactly what I was looking for. When I dated inside of my race, I kind of just dated as a process of growing up, the culture, being around women, being around young ladies, my siblings, the natural process of things. I think when I dated outside of my race, I think I was more intentional. I was more deliberate. Not necessarily more demanding, but I did have this I'm sorry, it's a little late, not too late. This checkbox list. I did have that. I'm gonna be perfectly honest with you. Maybe I'm not saying it right. Maybe we need a social scientist or a behaviorist or a therapist to put it that way. But what I'm explaining to you is this. Growing up in the hood, poverty, low socioeconomic, whatever, I'm dating the girls in the projects. I'm dating the girls around the way. I'm dating the girls in the city, whatever. I was dating the culture as such. Now, once I became a grown man, I was like, what type of woman do I want? I never really considered outside of my race when I was dating a more committed relationship to be with a woman, because I'm thinking by default, she's going to be of my race, which is she's going to be black, okay? I love black women, so that's just what it was. Now, here's what happened. After a couple serious relationships, meaning serious 6 to 10 years, right? Committed relationships. When I started to date again, I wasn't looking for maybe the things that by default I thought was going to come with those previous relationships. It was more like, okay, now I'm going to date more intentional. Now I'm going to date more deliberate. So what is it that I want? And then when I did that, and I dated outside of my race, I really had, it was almost like I got a jump start into the things that I wanted instead of that immediate lust or just that initial superficial, I like what I see eating with my eyes, and then finding out later on that none of it was real, that we're not compatible, that this not going to work, and different things like that. You know, and that's not a knock against outside of my race or black women. I'm just saying, if I had to be honest, which I don't have to be, I don't feel like lying yet. I'll lie in about 10 minutes, but right now, this is kind of not a lie. It's just that that's what that was, right? So I'll give you an example. I will enumerate. I will make some statements. I wanted to date outside of my race. I wanted to date a Latina, right? Yeah. I wanted to date, I didn't want to date a Mexican, even though they might fall under Latina. No, I didn't want to date a Mexican. The reason why I didn't want to date a Mexican is because I don't like their body type. And they may not like my body type. I'm just letting you know, right? What I noticed growing up, I'm attracted to certain body types, okay? And what I noticed about Mexican women, and I lived in Harlem for a while. I'm from the East Coast. I'm in Chicago. I didn't enjoy their body type. I'm not saying that they're not beautiful. Not at all. That would be an insult. No, I'm not saying that at all. But the body, I'm not attracted to their body type, the shape, the curves, that. I'm not, okay? And when I was attracted to their body, it was when I was younger and they were much younger. But I'm talking about 30-year-olds and up, 35-year-olds and up, Mexican women. I'm not attracted. I don't see them and say, damn, that's a good look. Not that I'm saying something to them. I'm just saying, period. I just don't. It's not me. So feel me on that, right? Now, in Harlem, in New York and in other places, it seems like depending on where they came from, they had a slightly different body type. So I was attracted to the body. And you say, well, why you keep talking about the body? What's wrong with you? Because I'm a physical beast. I'm physically attracted. I don't know what's on your mind. I don't know what your content is. I don't know what your substance is. When I first see you, I get it. You guys, I'm attracted to God in the person. If I don't see Jesus in them or her, I keep on walking. Man, have fun with that shit. They'll go right on ahead and carry the fuck on. I'm talking about me. I'm looking and they across the street, or we at a Starbucks, or they somewhere, whatever. And what else can I see? All right. And then the other thing is, then it's the cute face, the hair, maybe, how they carry themselves, the way they walk. All of those superficial, I know they superficial, and don't nobody want to admit that they look at that because y'all so serious and substantive. And, Talk, you're so narrow-minded and shallow. Sure. But after the narrow-minded and shallow, and I am attracted to the body type, and I do hear them speak, and I listen to the voice. Yeah, I look at the face, listen to the voice, different things like that. I don't have here's a perfect, you got to hit 100 list. No, I've never had that about women. I don't see myself as being a flawless, tall, dark, and handsome, great-looking guy, any of that. No, so I don't hold that standard to other people. So I'm not talking about, who you think you is sitting back and this, that, and that. I see somebody say real love sees no color. See, that's what I'm saying. See all those alpharisms. That deserves a pin though. What is it? Opal White 8928. I'm gonna pin that. Opal White 8928 says real love sees no color. Yeah, but does real love come first? If you feel like not lying. Like if you don't even feel like lying for 30 goddamn seconds, is the first thing you see is love before you see the color. If you're not in the mood to lie, if you can just hit the don't lie button for 10 seconds. Yeah, right. So anyway, after that, and you sitting there and you meet the person I'm talking, you know what I listen for then? I listen to voice. I'm gonna tell you what's not attracted to me. And here's the thing. I learned that it wasn't attractive to me from either dealing with or listening to black women. That's where I learned that this particular thing is not attractive to me. I could take two women, and let's just say two black women, right? It could be any woman, but I'm just using two black women. They could say the exact same thing out their mouth. Like they could be saying the exact same thing out their mouth, right? And if one of them sounds like she's nagging, like she's fussing, like she has the I'm bitching energy, it turns me off. And so you say, well, where did you get turned off from that? Well, the only place I could have got turned off from that or learned that I am turned off from that is when I was dating black women. When I was dating black women, when I was dating inside of my race, that's where I experienced and that's where I learned that I did not like a woman with that nagging, bitching ass overtone, like, like, just be a goddamn man, right? That shit don't turn me off. I'm telling you, two people could be cursing me out. Two women could sit there, black women, and say the exact same thing. Everything being equal. The looks, the education, their fluency, their prominence, their socioeconomic backgrounds, and how the woman speaks. If she sounds like a bitching, nagging, fussing, loudmouth, whatever, that's a turnoff for me. And I learned that from dating my race. So when I dated outside my race, when I'm having a conversation with somebody that I meet outside of my race, I do the voice chat. Because there's no way I'm gonna go to another race and choose that shit, because I can go back down there in Lafayette Projects, if you know what I'm talking about, and get that. I'll give you an example of it. I'm gonna give you an example of it right here. Here's an example of it right here. Right here up on the screen, right below me right now, you see, I think it's the Jamel Hill podcast. I don't know if y'all know Jamel Hill. Jamel Hill is like a sports analyst. She used to be, she still is to me. And she comes from the background with ESPN, and she got fired because of some controversial thing she said or whatever like that off of one of those shows on ESPN, one of them. And she has her own podcast, and you find her now on CNN. She's a commentator, she's an analyst, she's a contributor. I don't know her official title on CNN, but she's very educated, she's cute, and she speaks so fucking well. I don't care if Jamel Hill is going in on you, supporting you, or just being indifferent about the conversation. Jamel Hill has a voice that won't run you away. Now, you might not agree with her opinion. You may not agree with what she's saying, but her delivery comes from a woman. And the whole time, you can see and hear and experience levels of femininity coming from this woman, whether you agree with her or not. She might piss you off, but I'm just saying, I'll give you an example. Now, her co-host, or the person that was on there tonight, because I was watching it earlier tonight, her name is Carrie Champion. I don't even know who the hell Carrie Champion is, C-A-R-I Champion. I'm going to play a little clip from it to just give you an example of what I was saying. And when I play a little clip of it, she has the voice. There's no fucking way, if I could, because they was talking about dating your salary bracket, dating your tax bracket, date your height, date your race, whatever. And that's fine. Both of those young ladies or women were making excellent points on that podcast 4 or 5 hours ago. Go check it out. It's the Carrie and Jamel talking ish on a Tuesday, and I was watching it, and I commented on it, whatever like that. But here's what I'm saying to you. Back to this dating outside the other race, right? Or dating black women, period, for me. There's no way. There's no way. Her voice, her delivery, and I'm just talking about for me, is a complete turnoff because Carrie Champion sounds like she's fucking barking. She sounds like she's nagging. She sounds like she's always right at the edge, at the fucking edge, about to go off. And she has that energy that's just too fucking strong for me. There's nothing feminine about that. I don't want to rub your fucking shoulders because I'm afraid when we wake up tomorrow, you're not the woman I thought you was. But let me play a little clip. And listen, I'm talking about me. What works for you? I know dudes, they like women that got that voice where they're bitching, nagging, fussing, just too goddamn much. And this has nothing to do with whether they're right or wrong. She was making some good points. But listen to this. Listen. Jamel Hills is the light skin.
I mean, literally,
girl on
a bizarre world today.
I know, because I know, right? One with makeup, but you have such amazing skin, by the way. So
yeah, but you cute. You must got a date tonight.
No, I had work to do earlier, but anywho.
So I put together this party and I invited one. It's always one. You always invite one person who really shouldn't be together at this very intimate gathering. And this person was at to the cops.
You telling Obi shit in your house. As the question said, for someone older to date you once you are age appropriate.
Mm-hmm.
And in either, whether it's a man or a woman, to me, I don't like this idea where I'm just going to wait until they get a certain age, because that means that even when they're that age.
No, that's gross. That's lame.
See, that's Jamel Hill, the girl with the braids on the right side. That's Jamel Hill. For me, I can take it. I can take the way that she delivers. I can take the way that she speaks about it. I can take it. Listen, let me tell you something. I'm not talking about I got to date a woman that's always in agreement with me. I'm not even talking about I got to date a woman that has to be submissive to everything I do, my ignorance, my bad decisions, my ungodliness, my whatever. You don't get me confused. Listen to what I'm saying. But whatever I date, you're going to be a fucking woman the whole time. That's my expectation. So you always are going to have some femininity about you, some womanly about you. But if you have the mannish fucking posture and you have, I'm just about to go off, even though you explaining something that's pretty trite or something that's pleasant, and you're still right there like you're a fucking barking ass dome and pincher, hell no, I'm not dating your fucking ass. Who the hell would put up with that? I dated somebody before and they asked me years later, and I don't want to disrespect somebody, so I won't mention their name. And about 10 years after we finished dating, you know what she said to me? She says, "Top," and she's beautiful. Caramel complexion, beautiful, right? Natural, beautiful. She said, "Top, would you have ever married me?" I thought she was joking. I thought we was joking at this point because it's 10 years later. We just ran into each other, whatever, like this. And you know what I told her? I said, there's only one scenario where I would have married you. And she says, what? I said, if we was in the car and we got into a car accident and it damaged your motherfucking voice box, your larynx, what is it called? Your trachea? What is it that fuck your voice up and make you talk lower, but we can still understand you? Whatever that shit is, if that shit would have happened, I would have married her ass the next fucking day. But I couldn't take her mouth. I could not take her goddamn mouth. And I didn't say, don't confuse that with, she don't know what she talking about. She always wrong. She thinks she know everything. No, that's something different. Not being able to take somebody's mouth is like when I'm on these lives and people can't take my mouth. My information may be correct. It may be somewhat correct. It may be whacked out. But you're not saying that. You're saying, I can't take his monotone. I can't take his tone. I can't take the way he pauses and delivers. I can't take the way he say a word and he gives 2 examples of what the word might be. So it's my style, it's my pitch, it's my tone, it's my continence when I'm delivering whatever message it is. You can't take that. You may not be saying, in addition to that, you don't know what the hell you're talking about, which is really a no-brainer, right? So that's what I'm saying. So listen again to these 2 women. To me, I'm just saying me, I get this bitching ass, nagging, you too fucking loud, slow the fuck down. We not gonna be out in the streets fucking gang banging and shit. Listen to this.
And in wait, it's gross.
That's laying in wait. Like, I remember a sports example. I know you remember her, Anna Kournikova.
Oh, yeah.
Anna Kournikova, she started getting looks at 13, 14. It was grown men lusting after her. And she eventually married her childhood friend, Sergei Fedorov, who was already, a former hockey player for the Detroit Red Wings, for those who don't know. And they wound up getting together. Like, literally, her 18th birthday was still cold.
Look at the body language. Look at the way she brings her fingers together, her hands, the way she's moving. This is a woman. This is how a woman moves. Look at the way she speaks. She's not fucking barking, but she's articulate. She's making the point about older guys dating, grooming, whatever, younger women. She talking about Anna Kournikova, who was 13, 14. She was one of the tennis stars, and she wound up marrying somebody that was 27 years older than her, whatever the case might be. But that's a woman the whole fucking time. Even that's what that is. I don't need a woman that can box. No, I'm not doing that shit. I'm not doing. So again, what is my point of that? Let me let a little bit more play.
Okay.
I think that we have.
Now here goes Carrie. I think I'm not blaming her. That's just her. I don't need her to change. I'm just not going to date her.
To be honest about this, I do believe women, especially if they are in front of the camera, or beautiful women that are athletes or models or whatever, I do believe there are men who wait in theory. What did Russell Simmons get in trouble for?
I know.
You're always, look, back in the day before there were rules, people were doing what they wanted.
Right.
Like, yes, the Olsen twins. I think of
So you notice with her hand movement, all her fingers spread open. She extends it. She points. She do all that shit. See, and she's talking calm and doing all of that. So before it's all over with, her shoulder's gonna go up in the air. She gonna be flailing her goddamn fingers. She wants you to see how long them fake ass nails are with them goddamn chemicals that's gonna make her tips turn blue in about 10 years. But check it out.
Hard. And so I don't blame her for saying that. And I agree with her for saying that. I do believe that I don't want to be aware of this might be uncomfortable for you. Like, date your.
And so how it is, you go out.
Because he wasn't working as much. He wasn't doing the things that he wanted to do. And there was just a level of resentment he had. And I never understood why that's a thing.
They're talking about dating your type. But anyway, I get away from that. That was just my thing, okay? And I love black women. Now, I will say this. Going back to the dating outside your race, okay? When I'm talking about dating like me, to add some context to it, when I'm speaking about when my niece is asking the question, why do black men run to every race but ours when the black women are loyal and hold you down? Let me tell you who she's not talking about. She's not talking about black men native to Africa. So understand what I'm saying. She's not talking about Nigerians that came over here by choice. She's not talking about Ghanaians men that came over here by choice. She's not talking about Ethiopian men. She's not talking about in the last 50 to 100 years, or let's just say for her, the last 5 generations or whatever. So during her time many years before, she's not talking about them because that's a different culture. See, when you say black men, there's an assumption of who you're talking about. And so sometimes you have to parse, you have to separate, you have to, add some clarity through dissection of what are you doing or what labels and terms you're using, because it doesn't represent the same thing. Now, when she poses the question, why do black men run to every race but ours and we black women are loyal and hold you down? I know who she's not talking about because I knew where she grew up at and I knew who she grew up around, and I know that. So she doesn't have to parse down on it and be so exact. I'm bringing it up about who she's probably not talking about because I'm on my YouTube live and I know people chime in from all over the world. So you got people in one country or come from one culture, they think when you refer to black men and it's coming from a black woman that might be 40 years old, then she's talking about all people of color or not. Somebody else might think she's talking about anybody from Africa or not. Some people might think she's talking about, well, all of y'all are from Africa, your DNA and your ancestors trace back there, so it's all, no, that's not how we think. American black people are not sitting around here trying to move back to Africa. I don't mean to throw that in there. It's just the truth. I'm just trying to make a statement there to let you know there are some significant differences in efforts and sacrifice and intentions about where people are and where they're not when it comes to their culture. So if you know the person who's speaking and they use a particular term, then you have an idea whether that's derogatory, inflammatory, is that a revering or not, or whatever, right? So my niece is not talking about any of the black people that came over here from Africa in the last 50 years. She ain't talking about that because that would be in her dating range, 40, 35, 45, somewhere in that range, right? She ain't talking about them because culturally, they wouldn't get it no goddamn way. You couldn't pay them to get it. And they shouldn't. And you shouldn't be able to pay them to get it. She's talking about black men she grew up around, black men that she witnessed, and then it's probably some overlapping in watching entertainers, watching successful black men, watching the successful athletes, and when you see them, they're in the picture with somebody that doesn't look like her, and she's cute, and she's light-skinned, but when she says doesn't look like her, or I'm saying it, she means somebody that would consider somebody black. Now, I know a lot of y'all say, yeah, but she from the girl from Brazil, the girl from Ecuador, the girl from Argentina, the girl from Venezuela, the girl from Germany, the girl, whatever. Look at her. You can see that's the point. When you have to argue or make a case and sell to somebody where one of these successful black men wives are from, where one of these sports athletes' wives are from, and why technically on a scale somewhere you would consider them black because of some reason you come up with that requires somebody to go to ChatGPT or take a fucking course in anthropology or paleontology, whatever the hell it is, right? That's the point. You don't do that when you look and you see a black girl. You say, okay, she's black, and then you identify a culture which solidifies it, and then it's really simple. The litmus test ain't that difficult. As if you got to show up and sell to somebody that somebody's black, yeah, that one. But let's get back. Why did we date outside our race? So y'all heard the brother Jamal. You heard the brother Jamal talked about it. Dating outside his race. And I'll just play the first few minutes.
But I was dating outside of my race because they was doing things better.
Keep this in mind, Jamal, as I said before, Jamal Woodward, he played as Biggie Small. Now, like I say, a lot of y'all in the chat, you may not be aware of Jamal Wood, you might not know who Biggie Small is, but Biggie Small was the biggest artist that Diddy had. You might know Diddy at this point, but.
Then my race would get mad at me for dating outside my race. But I was dating outside of my race because they was doing things better than my race. I'm gonna keep it 100.
Define better.
Well, not better, because I know where she getting ready to go. Not better.
I know, you said they were doing things better. I wanted to know what better meant.
Not better. I'm gonna change that.
I'm trying to save you for the people,
That's
for the
what
culture.
I'm not better, for the culture.
There we go.
Right, not better. I was dating Puerto Rican, I was dating Dominican, I was dating African, I was dating all type of other really size American black, right? They were doing way more of what we expect we want our woman to do more than our American. Our American got real comfortable
Give me some examples.
Oh man, I mean, their mannerisms are different. Like even my Indian one was from one of them countries over there, right? I didn't have to really say much to do and be treated like a king. You see what I'm saying? A lot of times with our own American black, they expect so much of us and what we're supposed to do. Like things like if we go out and eat and we just have a nice dinner, we can go anywhere and eat and get a nice dinner. It had to be Rue Chris, or it had to be this, that, or it had to be this, that. Then I get somebody that's just as fine, a Cuban or a Colombian. They don't care about nothing. They care about you and your household. Even though they still care about the money, but it's not about the money. You understand what I'm trying to say? It's a difference. Not better, but sometimes we get tired of hearing, Birkin bags, sushi.
Do you think that's fair? Because I feel like there's a certain type of woman that does demand that. And to me, I think it depends on the bait you're using and where you're looking. If you're gonna go get a model from Instagram that got the BBL, the snatched in stomach, and has all the things that check off money hungry and surface, you're gonna get that. If you're gonna meet a girl and through different ways and ask different questions, you're gonna find that out a lot earlier on, that what's important to her.
I'm not doubting that, but I'm just talking about even if you look on just a regular dating app and just look at what a woman may state that she requires. You know, I'm saying these things because it feels as if social media, again, is the barometer, okay? And it's the comparison. And when you're comparing yourself to all these other women, and of course, even with the BBLs, because I'm like, that's fine, but I mean...
What's BBL? I'm sorry.
Brazilian butt lift.
Oh, okay.
And there's no shade to women that have them. I'm just saying.
I was wondering, I was waiting for it too. I'm like, excuse me?
And there's no shade to everyone that has them. I'm just saying, if you're going by just surface things and that's who you're going afterwards, then guess what? She gonna run them pockets.
No, and I'm not, and I want to get your thoughts, Doc, and as well, Amy, as a woman dating or even considering, I think that a lot of times, you know, we do value women, but when you talk about black relationships, I think we all come with some baggage, all right? Now, some of us have some baggage that's not gonna fit in the overhead compartment, and some of us have some baggage that you're gonna have to pay a whole lot more for to get on this flight, right? But the reality of it is, that's just who we are, and I'm talking about historic. Like, if you're talking about being enslaved, where we were and how we engage each other, there's a lot of elements there. But it can be a little difficult because women have expectations in 2021 that they're watching, and they're very material expectations. I agree with you, Claudia, but I'm simply saying that
not all of them are material.
And I'm not trying to generalize.
It's just
women.
Most of the time it's pointing to American women are more material.
And it's America as a society.
Not better.
Let's bring spirit. Let's bring spirit into this.
And I gave you the space to even edit the better part, right? So, and I'm with you on that. But let's say this because you guys both tie in two really important pieces, right? You talk about women who are not African American women, and you talk about the experience and what is the influence here. You mentioned social media, but what you're really missing here is the piece that you talk about, the enslavement part. The culture and the trauma that African American men and women and children have faced in this country is like unlike any other group. And so when we talk about trauma, what we know is that Black people have a lot of unprocessed trauma. We have a lot of hurt. We have a lot of harm, not just back then, but right now on the daily, right? And so one of the things that we talk about as professionals within my profession is we talk about how trauma impacts people. And so we love to say, Resma Menakem, one of my favorite colleagues, he says that trauma decontextualized within a person looks like personality. And that trauma decontextualized within a family looks like family traits. And that trauma decontextualized within a people looks like culture, right? And so when you talk about how African American women present and what they need as it relates to security and finances and the finer things in life, and to look a certain way and to want a certain thing from their man and to have certain expectations, it's because of the trauma that we are still trying to survive. And when we talk about feeling beautiful and the BBLs and the Birkin bags and the wanting the nice things and wanting their men to come with a certain level of care and a certain level of treatment and expectation, we are trying to connect. We are trying to heal with you. We are trying to build with you. But there's so much hurt and trauma that we all have that we don't talk about, that we don't even understand within ourselves, so that we can't find who we're compatible with. Because who we're compatible with is traumatized versions of ourselves.
Spirit, do you think that women and men, women that seek the materialistic things, items, the tangible things, and men that just seek the women for the aesthetics, do you think those are people that kind of just gave up on love and they're just like going for, all right, well, at least I can see this, I can grab onto this?
So let me jump in here real quick and talk like I know something, even though I probably don't. Because here's one of the things that I experienced myself and I witness, and it puts a different take on things for me in terms of the dating scene. Here's one of the things that I noticed that was kind of consistent. There's a different energy. There's a different take on things. There's a different way that people move if you can remove the economics. What do I mean by that? I had a long conversation a couple different times with a couple women, and that's what we talked about. We talked about initially, people dating each other, dating inside your race or whatever like that. And then we talked about how the experience gets different when you can remove the economics. So example, here's what I mean by removing the economics. I mean removing the economics on whatever level you are economically with who you're dating or the way that you move. So that means if you're a millionaire and you're dating your tax bracket up there and you move in a certain way, but you've removed the economics, meaning you're not concerned about paying reoccurring bills such as the mortgage, the car payments, the insurance, the cable bills, the phone bill, health insurance, different things like that. You remove the economics. So you're dating in the way that you move doesn't consider if somebody could bring more money to enhance your bank account. You're not really out there saying, oh, I need somebody that can whatever. That's not your thing, right? Because you got that. And I've experienced that, and we all have on our own level, especially as black men. I can't speak for white men. See, the one thing I won't try to do here, I see people in the chat, oh, it's all races and we're unique and I'm from Russia and I'm from China. I don't give a fuck if you're from the moon. I can't speak for fucking Martians, Moonins, Russians. I can't speak white men. You'll never catch me saying that shit. Now, can I sit here and say white men show hatred towards black men? White police officers are more aggressive with black youth, and here's the fucking video why. Here's the vital statistics showing it. Here's the death rate or the encounters of violence, and here it is. So in other words, can I make a statement? Can I make a thesis statement, give 3 supporting statements, and then give you the tangible empirical evidence and testimony, images and videos and fucking playbacks, so that if you want to say, well, that's still not true, that's all I can offer. But you'll never catch me sitting around meditating or pontificating on the minds of a white man or a Russian or a Spanish man or any of that shit, or an African man. Let me make it easy for you so you won't have to escape color. You'll never see me sitting around here saying, listen, man, my ancestors, we all from Africa, and I can tell you now, them men from Nigeria, I'll be fucking lying. If you catch me saying that shit, don't ever come back to my channel because I'm on super bullshit. But you know who I can speak about? You know what I can speak to? With some margin of error, but some areas of, okay, you got that. Black Americans. The fucking Black American experience. The African American experience. The Negroes, the black men, the niggas, all that shit. Yeah, I speak on that. Of course I can. Now, going back to us dating our race, and I'll say this in fairness to black women. I'll say this in fairness. When you can remove the economics, when I date, I remove the economics. What I do? It's a woman I want to date. I introduce myself. I get to know her. In fact, I'll give you a perfect example right now. Me and this woman was talking 3 weeks ago, just about 3 weeks ago. And I know her in general, but we never had real conversations. But we wind up having 2 conversations within an hour or so, just out on the block, just hanging out amongst other people that we associate with. So, you know, her energy was cool, and she's easy on the eyes. She ain't no fucking dime. They not gonna let her in nowhere because of the way she look, unless they open during operating hours. But she's easy to like, and she's cool, right? So I asked her, I said, look, are you dating someone? You know, and she says, well, not really, this, that, and that. You know, so you might think, well, why did you ask her that, Todd? Because 2 things. She can tell me the truth or she can tell me the lie, but I put it on her. And she says, well, are you dating someone? I said, no, I was a couple months ago, but we don't even communicate no more. That thing dead. It wasn't a committed relationship, no way, right? All right, so here's the thing. So I say to her like this. I say, look, if I ask you, would you be available for lunch? We can go hang out or something like that. So we talking about that. I say, this is kind of the way I move. I will probably, you know, the first time, if we decide to go out, the energy cool, we do it again, I'm going to pay for everything. You ain't got to do nothing but provide your time. You know, but after that, once it's established that, you know, we not really clicking and the energy is speak for itself, then if we go out again, we can still be cool, but you got to pay your own, you know, you got to put your shit up. You got to pay for your shit, but we can still go. She started laughing. She was like, you know what, guys don't normally say that. And I was like, yeah. She says, nah. She says, it's usually, you know, they come a different way with it. No, I'm straight up with it. I don't mind doing the interview process. I don't mind taking the test. See, I removed the economics. Why? So we can just get to the conversation. I don't want the energy brought there on our first and second time going out to get something to eat or whatever like that. First of all, it ain't going to be no motherfucking stars. It might be a 5 circle. It might be a 3 square. They might have 8 triangles. But it's just a good coincidence that those 2 times we going out, is any stars on that fucking building. So I don't even think I'm doing it like that. But the point being is this. I remove the economics because I want to focus on the energy of the person. I want to see what their body language is. I want to see how things click, how they mesh. I want to see the anecdotal to the visceral. That's all. I want to see the mannerisms. I want to see if we sit down and order and she orders steak and all that shit, I don't eat beef or pork. But I want to see if she order whatever she order, I want to see if she offers me some. I want to see if she says, hey, you want to taste this? I want to see what her suggestive ideas are. I want to see how she conducts herself. This is what I mean by the interview process. I pay for the whole interview process. I'll do it twice. It's not an issue. Because like I say, we're not balling out at the places, but they are going to have real silverware. You can ask them to put the fucking lemons on the side instead of squeezing them in the water. All that good shit, right? All right, cool. Why do I do that? Because I'm reading all of that. And why am I doing it somewhere we eat? Because at least if both of us hungry, whether things work out or not, we enjoy the meal. It relaxes the pressure or whatever like that. You move different with people in your race or outside your race when you can remove the economics. You do. I think in all fairness to black women, I'm not saying each time, every time, but in all fairness to black women, sometimes once black men get in the position where they're financially independent, they're not worried about their reoccurring bills, right? They have money to move. And that's why, the reason why I keep saying that is because I'm not talking about you got to be rich and famous. It's whatever level your playing field is. That's what I'm speaking to. So you're dating. Sometimes once black men get in that position, then they feel motivated, or they feel vigorous enough, or they feel some oomph, or they gird up, and then they date outside their race at that point because they feel like I can pay for everything, I can remove the economics, now I can go get me the body type, the hair, the speech, the complexion, the look, the height that I want, and they go hunt, and they can get it. Why? Because if you run into somebody outside of your race, you're going to be more deliberate. You're going to be more intentional. You're going to be more to the checkbox of what you're looking for. Like me personally, I'm going to tell you now, I don't like dating a woman where I got to go in the bathroom or her bathroom and his glue and his hair and his nails and that shit is not attractive to me. Do I like seeing them in it? Yeah, it's cool. It's cool. But do I want to be part of the maintenance program? Do I want to witness the removal and putting together of all that equipment and all that different stuff? I don't want to be part of that, right? So if I don't want to be part of that, guess what I do when I date outside my race? I'm not going to date a woman that come with all that. I'm just not. It ain't a knock against the black woman because she doing it for her reasons. She doing it because that's the way she get down. But I'm not going to do that. I'm not a fan. But listen to me. Listen to what I'm saying. Where did I learn that I don't like that? I learned that I don't like that from dating black women. So when I date outside my race, I'm not going to date outside my race and she got to put all that fucking equipment on. Not all that goddamn equipment. I mean your ass pads, your fucking eyes, and that fucking drag queen look, eyelash lid, that shit, hell fucking no. When I date outside my race, you ain't popping that shit with me, right? No, that's just me. That's just me. So that's why I'm saying what happens a lot of times is we learn what we love and we learn what we like and we learn what we compromise to and give concessions to in our own race. I'm just talking about black people. I don't know how white folks do it. I don't know nothing, nobody. And what I'm saying about black people, I'm saying it in a general way that some of what I'm saying is right because I don't speak for all black men, all black experience, all black women, none of that shit. I'm just giving you my little narrow, I lived, I experienced, I think about it. This is how it is for me, subjectively, viscerally, anecdotally, all the leads, the leads, right? But here's what I'll say. This is what I'll say. Sometimes it's not fair to the race. I'm just talking about the race. Now I'm at the macro level. We have 50,000 feet. It's not fair to the race that if the perception, I don't know how true it is, if the perception is that black women, which is true in many ways, they're dealing with trauma. They're dealing with, trying to be who they are. They're dealing with trying to hold it down for the black men, okay? They're dealing with that, right? And then black men, they get in a position to remove the economics where they can breathe and maybe pay for therapy, where they can breathe because they ain't worried about bills and maybe address trauma, maybe experience, maybe have more empathy for black women. But instead, we say, fuck that, I'm gone. Because I know the Puerto Rican, the Spanish girl, the Guatemalan, the Venezuelan, the Japanese, the Chinese, the other race, they're not going to market or sell their trauma to me as a way of being attractive to me. So it's kind of, if you look at it at the higher level, you can say, okay, it's some unfairness there. There's some things there. You know, that's kind of how I look at that. There's some points to be made, but our initial fight or flight when it comes to dating inside our race with black women, that's what a lot of us go through. Now, there's probably many black men, they stay in the race, especially when they become economically independent, because now they feel like they can do stuff to make the difference. Now they want that traumatized black woman that they're going to have more understanding, patience, and empathy for, and they're going to remove the economics and address issues with her and grow with her and help develop her. To me, that's encourageable. That takes a lot of courage. That's what's needed. More of that is needed. I'm not that guy. I'm sorry. I'm on coward.com. I'm not that guy. I'm not that sophisticated. Okay? Now, check it out. I've dated black women before. Successful. That's why I say, I know this, guys. I'm just talking about whatever level we on. Let's act like we crackheads. Let's for 5 minutes act like everybody in the chat is a crackhead or dope fiend or alcoholic. None of us are making over $50,000 a year. Some of us are operating at the poverty level. There's still a level, even in that description and example, where you can remove the economics. How? She has a Section 8 house, or you have a voucher. You might be paying 1/3 of your income, and you live in a nice spot. It's good. You got heat, you got gas, you got central air, it's popping. It's room, you got 2 bedrooms. It's popping. It's just what it is. She might have, it's whatever it is. She got a link card. You got to hook up in the street. All of a sudden, economics is not a thing for you. You remove the economics. We can pay the bills. We're not worried about paycheck to paycheck. We always $200-300 above or $200-300 to play with. That's all I'm saying on each level. It ain't you gotta have millions. No, it's wherever level you at. If we dope fiends, okay, my man gonna just give us some pills. I'm removing the economics. Now we can just sit down and shoot dope. These are not good examples. You don't want to tell somebody try it this way. I'm just saying it's whatever level we on. The conversation get different when the economics can be removed. And I noticed that. I witnessed that. Your focus is what it's about. Your focus is the essence of what you're doing or what you're on. Because now you don't have the anxiety and the, what is it called? The temerity. Is that a word? Temerity? Or am I making that shit up? Whatever is, you get it. It's supposed to be a good word that mean what I'm saying. You're not faced with that. So that anxiousness, that part about why it's not working out. Now you're more conscious and you're more deliberate and you're more intentional that you want to be there. You want to address the issues. You want to deal with it. But so many times, I just have to say it, black men either witness growing up or they grow up and they say, man, where can I go to eliminate this so-called nagging that they experience, this so-called bitching that they experience? And then they have a stereotype about another race. And then they have the other race. See, the advantage of the advantage of dating another race, okay? Here's the advantage of dating another race. Because we try to make it seem like it's a monologue, like it's one way. No. The advantage that black men have of dating another race is this. The other race just happen to want to date you too. It ain't like all of a sudden, when it come to women, you out here just choosing what the hell you want. Don't get it twisted. You ain't. It don't work that way. It just so happened that when you go to date another race, y'all have a commonality. They only available, they only speaking, they only engaging you because, hey, I wouldn't mind having you as a friend. Hey, we could be associates. Hey, we could potentially date. So what seems like a black man is just going to date another race as if he has some command and control or superpower when he goes to do that. No. You're thinking too much about your fucking self. I'm talking about black men. No, that other race wants to date you too. Now, the question is, how does this work? You see my fingers? How does this hand slide in there and fit that? Where does that happen at? Because fortunately, when you're dating other races, you know what? I've never heard another woman in another race talk about that they are equal to men. I'm not saying you haven't heard that. I've never really been around conversations where there's 2 or 3 women from another culture speaking English where I can understand it, discussing that they are equal just like men. That's right there. Whether it's a stereotype, a misnomer, a misconception, whatever that is, the assassination of a character of black women, I'm just talking about black women, whatever that is a turn off with me. It's a turn off with me. I am not sold that black women are equal to black men. When the last time you've been around black men that they're sitting at a table, at a bar, at a concert, at a game, in the house, in the pool hall, on the fucking corner, and there's 2 or 3 of them sitting around talking about we're equal just like women. Man, I'm just as much woman as her. Man, don't make me show my titties. Don't make me put my ass out. This shit is insane. This shit is insane. But that's that other energy that's so distasteful and so distraughtful and so just out of wits. You can't even make sense of it. And you say, well, that's because the way you were brought up. It might be. But why isn't there groups of black men sitting around arguing that they're women too? And I know you got your outliers. Well, you need to do some research. There's this guy. You can always find a guy. Well, there's this other guy. You can always find another guy. I'm talking about bell curve. Bell curve is that parabola that represents normal distribution of anything happening. It's around 68%. There you go. A little more than 68% probably. That's the overwhelming majority of anything we talk about. And what I'm saying to you is, when black women, I'm just talking about black women, when black women give the energy that they are men, but yet they want to move as if the man, a black man, is supposed to treat them like the woman. It's what we would call a semantic gap. Like, you ever heard of that? Or did I make it up? Semantic gap. It's what's being said versus what's being heard. It's what's being typed in versus what's being sent back. There's a gap there because we can't make sense of it. We can't make sense of it. So check this out. Here we go right here. Check this out. I'll shut up.
Morning, everybody. It's DJ
Really
Envy, Charlemagne the God.
I was mute all that time. Damn. And Osby told me, a lot of y'all told me I should have shut up and listened. I apologize. I sound crazy. All right, but let's listen.
Rumor or headline about you that was totally false, but it still hurt?
Probably that I hate black men. And
I missed that one.
yeah, it's like that became a very prevalent narrative. And I've seen people in the YouTube space take off on me, and because people always send me the videos and I'm like, okay, whatever. Thank you. I mean,
like real black,
right? Exactly. And it's like, I hate to, even though to some degree, I almost hate using that as a defense because I don't want it to feel like I got a black friend if you white. Like, it's like, okay. You know what I'm saying? Because it doesn't mean some people can have the blackest families and the blackest lives, so to speak, and be anti-black. So I don't.
Let me get to this next topic until Wolf come back. There's another topic I want to get to. But why do y'all think that men prefer like other races of women?
We just had this topic on our podcast.
That's one of y'all topics.
Yeah, we need to hear that from you guys.
Wait, what? Black men prefer
There's men in general.
Do they prefer?
Well, see, with us it was, why is it that black men prefer either white girls or Spanish girls? That was the topic that we...
You think we prefer?
I think that's incorrect.
I think so.
I think
the way that I see it...
what they like how women like what they like.
Just, I prefer her.
No,
niggas gonna get they gonna get the
I feel like guys really don't care.
Right.
So Spanish men don't do that?
I feel like Spanish men either tend to go with a white girl or with a Spanish girl.
No.
That's what we see.
When I say they love black girls, they do.
Yeah, they do.
And that's a fact.
Spanish men?
I don't see that. Do you guys see that in Providence? Because
that's not standard from where we're from.
No,
I think they're ashamed to show it at the same time.
Yeah, Rhode Island.
Yeah,
I don't see that.
I think it's some shaming and part of it. I don't see them publicly doing it, but I do feel like they are very attracted to black women.
Who?
I feel like they should
Spanish
be. Black
guys?
women are absolutely beautiful.
Me
They're
too.
goddesses.
I believe the same thing.
You're welcome. I mean that.
Mm-hmm. So, and black men too. We ain't gonna just big up Spanish men like, they just know. Black men love black women too.
So
like, you know
why is it that we see that, like, we hear about that, like, a thing, like, black men don't want to date black
because
women.
it's easier for the media to paint black men as
the bad guy.
As the bad guy.
Men marry
we get
black
put
women.
in. They say, who's stealing out here? Black men. Who's fucking out here? Black men. Who's cheating out here? Black men. It's just everything.
Black men marry black women at an 87% rate, but y'all want to focus so much on the other percent.
I never knew that.
Because y'all probably see one celebrity and y'all see him with a white girl or a Spanish girl, and y'all try to paint that as all black. Most black men in America marry black women. Like, you know what I'm saying?
That's beautiful.
Wait. So why are most black women single then?
Now that's a different conversation.
See, it just makes no sense.
That goes back to our first topic about complying to a man's needs.
Well, there's more women than men on the earth, period. I mean, so there's more black women than black men. So, I mean, if you do the math, every black woman can't be in a relationship with a black man. You know what I mean?
So my thing is that I feel like we hear a lot that there's a standard that and I'm obviously not black, I'm Portuguese, but you hear it that black men are almost harder on black women in relationships. It seems like they treat them, I don't know, like difficultly, like more like, I don't know.
I think that's false. Yeah. I think men in general require the same thing from no matter what woman they date. You know what I mean? They want femininity, they want peace, they want love,
so
they want
social media
understanding.
just be lying.
I know, you know what it is? Unfortunately, in our community specifically, black men don't get to control their own narratives. And a lot of times what y'all will hear is black women speaking so negatively about black men and their experiences, which may not even be true.
But even in movies you see it. Like,
yeah, but again, that's not black men controlling their own narratives. We're letting other people control our narratives. That's not necessarily true.
That's honestly shocking to me. I really thought that, like, black men really dated either Spanish or white. I really thought that. I've never really seen, like,
maybe in Rhode Island.
As a black man, I never even dated a Hispanic I never dated outside my race.
That's fire.
I think just in general, men look for the same qualities. Yeah,
I love chocolate women.
Men look for the same qualities in women, right? Mm-hmm. And it starts with feminine, fit, and friendly, right? If you have those core features as a woman, then you could attract any man of any ethnic group. But when you start to take away as a woman, when you start to not have those traits, those don't seem as desirable anymore. Like, you get what I'm saying? So
I'm sorry, can you say them again? You said feminine,
fit, and friendly, right?
Okay. So the fit one is the one that really stuck out to me. What kind of fit? Because I feel like I see you look at my 300-pound life, and these big women are on there with husbands who cater to them.
That's not the majority. That's not the majority. Again, we see one example and we think, okay, it's possible.
On
that
TV.
must, like, you know what I mean? I'm just talking about men of all ethnic groups value women that's in shape. You get what I'm saying? There's no what's considered shape. 300 pounds. Come on, we gotta be realistic. Like, you know what I'm saying?
But you
like,
see that, and they're happy where you see more fit women where they're single. So why is that?
But then they might not have the femininity, or they might not be friendly. Like I said, once you have those great qualities,
No, that femininity thing is tough though. We're not, because it's when I feel like the men. This is gonna they're gonna take ours. I feel like we're not allowed to be too feminine anymore.
What's your
we have
ethnicity?
to, I'm Dominican.
Dominican, okay, all right.
Because we're picking up slack for men, so it's like I gotta be half guy and half girl.
What slack are you picking up from your man?
For example, because we got
who do you mostly date? A Dominican men or black men?
Black, but I'm with a Dominican right now.
Okay, all right, continue.
This the 9 year guy?
It's good.
This the 9 years guy?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. All right.
So I just
so
feel
what's
like
you picking up for him?
okay, so this is how it is. Like, we get videos where, like, it's just thousands of comments of men saying, like, oh, well, we're not going to do this and we're not going to do that. But it's like, women are going to work every day, paying half of the bills every day, and then we got to come back home and also do everything around the house. And so then that's when I get mad.
I don't think
people stay.
No, I understand that. But in a lot of the situations, that's what women put up with. They also got to pay half of the bills and come home, take care of kids, wash clothes, do it. You know what I'm saying? Do everything. And that's the reality of things.
That's not the reality.
It is. You know how much women comment saying that that's what they do?
No. And you know how many men like me who I watch my kids, I do my kids' homework, I cook more than my woman, I pay more
you guys
bills
are
than
unicorns.
No, it's not unicorns. They're out there.
Again, we're letting women.
It's the woman that brings that out of the guy.
And I'm not taking responsibility for that. Absolutely not.
If he was demanding that, he would do it.
He would do it. Because women stay in relationships that make them unhappy. So guys are like, I'm going to do whatever. Start leaving.
So I have
Women
to tell
need
you to clean.
No, tell you to clean. Start leaving relationships.
Right.
People are staying in stuff and being miserable when they can just leave because they want to be comforted by another person. You need comfort within yourself.
Mm-hmm.
I just feel like if you don't tell a man they're not gonna
go, you're not gonna put up with a lot of stuff.
Then let them not do it and you get the fuck
Oh,
out.
That's not my life.
You already paying half.
Trust me, that's not my life. But I'm just saying, a lot of women comment saying the same thing. It's not just, there's a lot of different situations with different women. A lot of them can't just go up and leave. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's not that easy. Some women have kids. Some women, it's just a lot of situations that you can't just say up and go. You know what I'm saying?
Excuses.
That is excuses.
But women.
Yeah, I think she made a good point. Let me back that up again, because even though she's a little brash and she has that I'm a man for 5 minutes and now I'm a woman for the next 5 minutes energy, she makes a very good point. Let me play this back.
When they can just leave because they want to be comforted by another person. You need comfort within yourself.
Mm-hmm.
See, that's a fallacy right there. You just can't get up and go. Like my parents, it was 6 of us. So at the time my parents got divorced, I think it was like, I might have been the youngest. So at that point it was like 4 of us or something like that. Yeah, like 4 of us, right? But, that process of divorce for my parents, it just didn't happen overnight because my mom, she couldn't take it no more. She couldn't deal with it no more. It's a process. It's easy on paper and it's easy when you haven't lived. And so the young lady sitting right there with the white hat on, she's talking about, oh, you could just leave this, that, and that. But how do you just leave your kids? How do you leave a situation where you're being provided for maybe? How do you leave a situation where your signature is on everything? Because for the most part, we're not talking about somebody kicking you and stomping you and dragging you up and down the elevator lobby like Diddy was doing, Cassie. We're talking about there is some normalcy, like you do care and you are committed. And it's not like you just bounce. So this It sounds good on paper. You could just go. It's like telling the alcoholic, just stop drinking. Just stop putting the bottle to your mouth. You tell a dope fiend, just don't pick a needle up. It's not that simple. That's not how life works out if you lived or you've crossed certain barriers of life where things happen like kids, bills, commitments, marriages, and different things like that. That's why the young lady sitting there in the all white, she's probably still on the side of purity with the all white in terms of not living life. But anyway, let's listen to the response from the girl from the Dominican Republic.
I just feel like if you don't tell a man, they're gonna
go. You're not gonna put up with a lot of stuff.
Let them not do it, and you get the fuck.
Oh,
that's not my life.
You already paying half.
Trust me, that's not my life. But I'm just saying, a lot of women comment saying the same thing. It's not just. I mean, there's a lot of different situations where different women. A lot of them can't just go up and leave. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's not that easy. Some women have kids. Some women. It's just a lot of situations that you can't just say up and go. You know what I'm saying?
Excuses.
Excuses.
That is excuses.
But
it's not excuses. Before you had the kids and you put up with that,
a woman that has
deeper hole.
Sometimes men change after kids.
But a woman that has kids, right, and she's working multiple jobs and she's doing this, she's paying all the bills for her household and she has kids. She never uses, well, I'm working, I can't be a mother, I can't be a nurturing. Like, she never would use that as an excuse. So I don't know why all of a sudden now, because you work and because women have fought for equality and now y'all work in the household, now we can't be feminine. Y'all don't have these excuses when y'all parents, when y'all single mothers. Y'all still go home and be very much nurturing and a mother to y'all children.
You gotta still cook, you still gotta clean.
All right, but those are children. We're talking about a
adult,
partner.
A man.
You're capable of doing it.
Yeah, I'm capable of doing it, but it's a partner.
That's what I'm saying. It's just being an adult. Just like your.
I can't pronounce the last name, but Chris put a post up, a comment up. It says, in the military, I saw a lot of mixed racial marriages. I believe it's because there's a commonality and equality in the social structure. I kind of like what the Good News Channel also says. Weak minds discuss people, average minds discuss events, strong minds discuss ideas. Which ones are you? Yeah, I've seen that a few different times. Yeah. Look, the Good News says, sad I ran into this shitty topic and a waste of air, space, and time and bandwidth. So I'm thinking that'll be the Good News Channel's last comment on his channel because it just wasted his time, which makes sense. It's cool. It's cool.
Get mad at me for dating outside my race. But I was dating outside of my race because they was doing things better than my race. I'm gonna keep it 100.
Define better.
Well, not better, because I know where she getting ready to go. Not better.
I know, you said they were doing things better. I wanted to know what better meant.
Not better. I'm gonna change that.
I'm trying to save you for the
I know
people,
you is. That's
for the
what I'm
culture.
saying. Not better, for the culture.
There we go.
Right, not better. I was dating Puerto Rican, I was dating Dominican, I was dating African, I was dating all type of other really size American black, right? They were doing way more of what we expect we want our woman to do more than our American. Our American got real comfortable with—
Give me some examples.
Oh man, I mean, their mannerisms are different. Like even my Indian one was from one of them countries over there, right? I didn't have to really say much to do and be treated like a king.
You don't even know the name of the country.
You see what I'm saying?
That's great.
A lot of times with our own American black, they expect so much of us and what we're supposed to do. Like things like if we go out and eat and we just have a nice dinner, we can go anywhere and eat and get a nice dinner. It had to be Rue Chris, or it had to be this, that, or it had to be this, that. Then I get somebody that's just as fine, a Cuban or a Colombian. They don't care about nothing. They care about you and your household. Even though they still care about the money, but it's not about the money. You understand what I'm trying to say? It's a difference. Not better, but sometimes we get tired of hearing Birkin bags and sushi.
Do you think that's fair? Because I feel like there's a certain type of woman that does demand that. And to me, I think it depends on the bait you're using and where you're looking. If you're gonna go get a model from Instagram that got the BBL, the snatched in stomach, and has all the things that check off money hungry and surface, you're gonna get that. If you're gonna meet a girl and through different ways and ask different questions, you're gonna find that out a lot earlier on that
And
what's important to her.
I'm not doubting that, but I'm just talking about even if you look on just a regular dating app and just look at what a woman may state that she requires. You know, I'm saying these things because it feels as if social media again is the barometer. Okay, and it's the comparison, and when you're comparing yourself to all these other women, and of course, even with the BBLs, because I'm like, that's fine, but I mean,
What's BBL? I'm sorry.
Brazilian butt lift.
Oh, okay.
And there's no shade to women that have them. I'm just
I was
saying.
wondering. I was waiting for it too. I'm like, excuse me.
And there's no shade to everyone that has them. I'm just saying, if you're going by just surface things and that's who you're going afterwards, then guess what? She gonna run them pockets.
No, and I'm not, and I want to get your thoughts, Doc, and as well, Amy, as a woman dating or even considering, I think that a lot of times, you know, we do value women, but when you talk about Black relationships, I think we all come with some baggage, all right? Now, some of us have some baggage that's not gonna fit in the overhead compartment, and some of us have some baggage that you're gonna have to pay a whole lot more for to get on this flight, right? But the reality of it is that's just who we are, and I'm talking about historic. Like if you're talking about being enslaved, where we were and how we engage each other, there's a lot of elements there. But it can be a little difficult because women have expectations in 2021 that they're watching, and they're very material expectations. I agree with you, Claudia, but I'm simply saying that
not all of them are material.
And I'm not trying to generalize.
It's just
women.
Most of the time it's pointing to American women are more material.
And it's America as a society.
Not better.
Let's bring spirit. Let's bring spirit into this.
And I gave you the space to even edit the better part, right? So and I'm with you on that.
So I'm gonna let that sister talk in a minute, but I do want to say this. I do like the comment made by not a robot, I'm guessing, where the comment says a lot of ladies are seeming really as if they're just expecting all these things. But let me just say this, like for Black women, for Black men, in the Black culture, okay, all Black cultures are not the same. If you can, I know a lot of you guys are worldly. You're coming from different parts of the world. You have different experience. A lot of you guys, women, have traveled internationally. You've probably been exposed to different cultures. But in America, in a general way, this is a general statement, the Black culture in America is different than Africa. So people that comes from Africa, let's say anybody under 75 years old, they could be 10 years old, they could be 30 years old, they could be 40 years old or whatever. If they're coming from Africa, that's not Black people to Black people in America, okay? That's not what that is. When Black people are talking about Black people, they're not talking about a genetic or DNA trace throughout history that brings all of us back to Ghana or Nigeria or something like that. The idea of being Black in America, you know what it is. You know what that is. See, the misnomer is this thing about people of color. People of color and Black people are two different things, all right? I don't know what your experiences have been as a Black person in America, but they're two different things. First, your ass Black. For Black Americans, there's a prototype, there's a stereotype, there are experience, there are tangible empirical things, evidence, witnesses, testimony, deaths, burials, all types of shit. Systemically, economically, institutionally, that Black Americans, that your mother and father were called Negroes at one time, or Black people, that you've been called niggers, that don't nobody investigate or try to trace your DNA before they label you. Okay, that's not really representative of what people of color go through. That ain't what the yellow people go through. That ain't what the Indians go through. That ain't what the Puerto Ricans go through. That ain't what the Mexicans go through. Not at that level. So if your ass is Black, that's one set of challenges that you face and hardships. And then there's some shit called people of color, which is a different level. It's not the VIP of travesty. It's not the VIP of devastation and monstrosity and all of that shit. But there's a level of some shit that's happening too. So let's just get that straight. But anyway, let me finish playing this.
But let's say this because you guys both tie in two really important pieces, right? You talk about women who are not African American women, and you talk about the experience and what is the influence here. You mentioned social media, but what you're really missing here is the piece that you talk about, the enslavement part. The culture and the trauma that African American men and women and children have faced in this country is like unlike any other group. And so when we talk about trauma, what we know is that Black people have a lot of unprocessed trauma. We have a lot of hurt. We have a lot of harm, not just back then, but right now on the daily, right? And so one of the things that we talk about as professionals within my profession is we talk about how trauma impacts people. And so we love to say, Resma Menakem, one of my favorite colleagues, he says that trauma decontextualized within a person looks like personality. And that trauma decontextualized within a family looks like family traits. And that trauma decontextualized within a people looks like culture. Right? And so when you talk about
So I'm going to end it right there. I did this live because my niece, through my nephew, posted a question. And so I tried to mimic and quote her. Why do Black men run to every race but ours? But we Black women are loyal and hold Black men down. That was a question. So I just wanted to get a sense from you guys what that was so I can take it back to her and let her see what you guys think, because I have my own opinion, but of course it's subjective and it's anecdotal and it's visceral and it's this and it's that. That's why you gotta hear from other people. You gotta get thoughts from other people. You gotta enjoy and respect other people's experiences, what they think, because everyone as individuals may be narrow in and of itself. I just want to say thank you to everybody that joined the live. Thank you to everybody that called me out my name, told me I didn't know what I was talking about, told me I looked crazy, all of that. I want to say thank you to you, because it still took some of your time that you can't get back to even say that. But it's just a healthy conversation in that sense. It's just food for thought. You know, you guys have a blessed one. And like I said, thank you for just stopping through, because who am I? I'm just the guy on the mic, and we just all the same. That's why I say we're uniquely the same. Peace out, man. Peace out. Main 09 thing. Fuqua. Jason Freeman, making individuals believe something that they have never seen or felt, but believe they have to hold it down anyway.